Hey, what's up everyone, it's Patrick, and welcome to my guide to the quest Shades of Mort'ton on old school RuneScape. If you do this on RuneScape 3, I have a guide for that as well, link description below. On screen right now is everything you need to repair yourself as quest. The green text is what you actually need, and the white text explains where to get everything for the Ironman. Most of this is self-explanatory. I only want to go over one thing. There is a part in this quest that requires you to play a mini game called Shades of Mort'ton. I'll be covering how to do it with people and how to do it solo. It is much easier and faster with people, but you might not be able to find anyone. There is a dedicated world for it, which I'll go into all those details when we get up to that part, but the mini game is already not that popular, and depending on the time that you play, there might not even be a lot of people online in general. If you have to do it solo, you need something called Flame Tear bracelets. It's the enchanted version of a jade bracelet, and to put it simpler, it makes things in the mini game go faster. You need a few because they do have a limited amount of charges, and one won't last the entire game. If you're not an Ironman, you could just buy them. If you are an Ironman, they might be a pain to get, especially to get the jade. What you could do is see if there's people there first and decide if you want to get them later. That's up to you. Anyways, feel free to pause this if you need it, as I'm going to get into the guide now. This video is brought to you by the awesome members of my Patreon. If you want access to some exclusive perks, check out the link in the description below. Enjoy the video, everyone. To start the quest, go to this building in Morton, shown by a yellow mark on this map. You can get there using a Morton teleport. A Barrows teleport will get you somewhat close. Other than that, the options to get there are pretty limited. Your only other option is to use some teleport to Canifis or Mauritania in general and run there. If you're using fairy rings, the code is BKR and you can run through a swamp. If you click in that general direction while you're in the swamp, your character will automatically run the correct way. Enter the building and take the 2 empty vials off the ground. Search the shelf on the west wall to receive a diary. Read the diary, select option 1, yes, and flip through pages. If anything attacks you now or at any point in the quest, just run around and try to get stuck on something. Right click the smash table and choose search to receive some herbs. You need the 2 taromins, so clean those. Go to the building with the water source to the northeast and fill your 2 vials with water. Use the taromins on 2 vials of water, then add ashes to 2 unfinished taromin potions to create 2 3-dose vials of Serum 207. Run northwest to the general store and use a Serum 207 on afflicted Razmir. It should only use 1 dose. Continue the conversation, then select options 4 and 1. You see those green spots moving around outside? You have to kill 5 of them and collect the remains that they drop. After killing 5 and collecting 5 remains, speak to Razmir in the general store again to give him 2 of the remains, and you can ignore chat options. If you can't speak to him because he's afflicted, then you need to use another dose of the Serum 207 on him. Don't use it if you don't have to. You don't want to waste these. You can ignore the chat options at the end of the conversation. Go to the house with the water to the southeast and use the serum on Allsquire, then continue the dialogue to give him 1 of the remains. Speak to Allsquire again and select options 1, 2, 5. Go back to General Store, right-click Razmir and choose General Store. You need to buy 1 olive oil, and you should buy a Flame Tear hammer, especially if you're doing a solo. It's only 13k. Close out of the general store, right-click Razmir or speak to him and open his builder store or building store. It's different stuff from the general store. You need to buy timber beams, limestone bricks, and swamp paste. A swamp paste stacks, so you need 1 inventory space for those. Buy enough limestone bricks to fill half your inventory and fill the other half with timber beams. For each set of those that you have, you need 5 swamp paste. You now need to play the Shades of Mort'ton minigame, and the world for it is 377. Double check that just in case they change it or something. The activity for the world does actually say Morton Temple. Let me explain how this works, and this applies to both doing it solo and with people. Don't actually start on anything yet, because if you do it wrong, you're just going to end up wasting time and resources. So you go to this little island across the bridge to the northeast. Basically what this is, it's a temple you have to build. The outline that you see on the ground is where it goes. You have to repair it by clicking on 1 section of the wall at a time. Once that section is fully repaired, you'll know because the option will be reinforce wall instead of repair. You'll then move on to the next part of the wall and make sure to pay attention because your character won't stop hammering even if the wall is built. You notice the more that you build, the number next to repair state at the top will go up. You need to get this to 100. The tricky part about this is that the shades will attack and attempt to tear it down, so you would have to upkeep the sections of the wall that aren't at their full height, and the idea is you have to build faster than they can tear it down. The flame tear hammer and bracelet help with that, but keep in mind the bracelet has a limited number of charges, so you may need more than one, and do pay attention to when it breaks down. So what's the difference between doing a solo and a group? In a group, everyone builds a temple together, so whatever progress someone else makes also applies to everyone in this world. If there are enough people already here when you get here and they already have the temple built, your repair state will also already be at 100%. Now the problem is that does not mean you don't have to do anything because you still need to contribute a little bit, so the number next to sanctity has to be at least 20. You can build, repair, and reinforce whatever to get that number up, just get it up to 20. Once the repair state is at 100 and the sanctity is at least 20 at the same time, you can light the fire altar in the middle unless someone already did it, then use your olive oil on the fire to turn it into sacred oil. This will use up some of your sanctity. You now need to get it up to 20% again if it's not already there, while keeping the repair state at 100. Once you've done that, you're going to use your Serum 207, ideally the one with a higher dose, or combine them if you have enough. Use that one on the fire to turn it into Serum 208. That's pretty much it, so feel free to start on this now if you haven't already. Once you have your sacred oil in Serum 208, go to the western side of Morton. Also use your sacred oil on your regular logs to create pyro logs. Use the pyre logs on the funeral pyre, then use one of your lore remains on it, light the fire, and if a key or something appears next to the fire, pick that up. But if nothing shows up, don't worry about it, you don't really need that. If you have at least 2 doses of the Serum 208, go to the general store. If not, then go to Allsquire at the building with the water source. This next part is not required for the quest, but you might as well do it while you're here if you have an extra dose of the Serum 208 to spare. Otherwise, skip this and maybe do it later. So you're going to use 1 dose of your Serum 208 on Razmir, and this is a permanent cure for being afflicted, so you'll now be able to freely talk to him whenever without the potion. Then you're going to go to the building with the water to the southeast, use a Serum 208 on Allsquire to cure him. This one you have to do to complete the quest. Just finish the dialogue with Allsquire. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for future videos come if you haven't already. There are also links in the description below for my Patreon, donation link, Twitter, and Discord where you can interact with me. Donations can also be directly made through YouTube now. Thanks option near the like button below the video. Catch you later. Peace.